Welcome back, everyone. So, I have the notes for today really scrunched down because we are doing adding with decimals. And I know that some people get really nervous when we do decimals. So I wanted to give you guys just a little bit of background on OneNote. You have so much space. You basically have unlimited scratch paper because you can scroll your page to the side. You can scroll your page up and down. And if you write all the way down here, you can continue scrolling up for basically infinity. Okay. So if you need more space to write because you have big handwriting and you don't think you can write in those tiny boxes, please don't feel limited to writing just on the document. That's just what I could fit on an actual piece of paper in Word document, okay? You can continue writing and making notes on the side all you want. So let's go ahead and zoom back in so you can actually see the notes. All right, there we go. So today's video is adding decimal numbers with the same signs. And our learning target is I can add numbers with the same signs. Hey, that should sound very similar to our last video, adding whole numbers with the same signs. So, adding decimals and adding whole numbers are pretty similar. So we're going to jump in right into our little post-it note box, and we're going to try and fill in those blanks. I want you to pause the video and try to fill those in. Remember that each of those little lines is one letter. Okay, there we go. There's the answer. Adding decimals is similar to adding whole numbers, just with one extra step to remember. And I bet some of you even already know what that one extra step is. So, we have over here something called computation. Computation is just a really fancy way of saying we're going to do the actual math, okay? So we're going to actually set up the math problem and do the actual math. So I want to set this up. Right now it is set up horizontally. So it's set up in a line. I want to set it up in a line going the other way, vertically. So we are going to write 3.75 and then we're going to add. And this is where it comes in and it's very important. The very first thing I'm going to line up is my decimal because our decimals have to line up. So I've got my decimal on both of them and they're in a line. Then I can just fill in the numbers to my left and my right of my decimal. So the 0 goes here, the 6 goes here, and now I'm done, okay? So I'm going to fill in my missing spot. I'm just going to put a 0 there just to fill in the blank. I want to make sure that I don't get confused when I'm adding. And so I'm just going to put a placeholder. A 0 is a placeholder. It doesn't change the value of that 0.6. It doesn't add anything else to it. It's still just 0.6. It means exactly the same thing, just a placeholder so that there's the same number of digits in the top number as there is in the bottom number. Okay? But it is really important to make sure that we have those decimals lined up. Because when it comes to adding, that decimal is going to stay right there. So I can already plug that decimal in down here at the bottom. So our answer, we know our decimal is right there at the bottom. All right. And so now we're going to add 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 6. I like to do it this way and do 6 plus 6 is 12 plus 1 more is the same as 6 plus 7. So I know that that is 13. I have to carry that 1, bring the 3 down, and then 1 plus 3 is 4 plus 0. So I get my answer of 4.35. And then we circle our answer. We're going to do the same thing over here with our negatives. This one is going to be a little bit different. So we have negative 2.8. And then again, we're going to put that decimal in first, right? And then we can fill in. We have 0, and we have negative 0 point, and then that's 4 and 6, but we're adding that negative, and then we need to fill in for that missing 0. But let me show you something I like to do to remind myself. Because remember, when we did the absolute values, we had to just add both of these negatives together. When I'm doing it this way, I like to put a line through my negatives and just bring that negative straight down. Now it looks like I have 2 plus signs, right? I've got this plus sign, and I've got this plus sign, and now I'm just plusing 2 positives, which is what I did over on this problem, right? That one's just 2 pluses, right? 2 positive numbers that I'm adding together. So now I'm going to add these numbers together. What is 0 plus 6? Well, 0 plus 6 is just 6. And then we have 8 plus 4, 8. We have 9, 10, 11, 12. Bring down our 2. Maybe. My pen doesn't want to work. 2. Carry our 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. And again, our decimal is going to just follow that same exact space straight down. So our decimal is going to go in that same exact spot. And then our negative, our answer is still that negative. So our answer is negative 3.26. All right. Ooh, using number lines. That sounds kind of scary. Number lines, some people don't like them. And to make matters worse, it's a word problem. All right, so let's read this word problem together first. Mr. Lopez takes Coda for a 3.5-mile walk, then stops to let Coda rest and get some water before continuing to walk for another 2.5 miles before going back to his house. How many miles did Mr. Lopez and Coda walk before getting home? Whew, that was a lot of information. Maybe we should do some like highlighting or something. Okay, so Mr. Lopez took Coda for a 3.5-mile walk. So they walked for 3.5 miles. And then they stopped. Because that was a long time, right? They walked for a long time. And they drank some water. That's important for their health, but is it important for our math problem? No. But then they walked for another 2.5 miles, right? Okay, so we walked for 2 more miles. So now, did we walk for more or did they take away miles? Well, it says another, so we're adding. Okay. And then they got all the way back to his house. Okay. How many miles did Mr. Lopez walk? So we have to ask ourselves, how many miles did they walk? Right? That's all it wants to know is how many miles did it walk? All right. Okay. So we started at 3.5. Well, we don't have any decimals on here. Well, 3.5 is the same as what? 3.5. Well, I can kind of estimate where 3.5 is, right? So 3.5 is somewhere between 3 and 4. So I can go halfway in between 3 and 4. I can just put a dot there. And then that's how far they started first. But did they start there? They already started at 3.5 miles? Where'd they really start? When you very first start somewhere, you start where? So you started at 0 because you hadn't done any miles yet. And then they walked for 1, 2, 3.5 miles. And then they stopped and they drank some water, so they weren't going anywhere. And then they walked for 2.5 more miles. So they walked for another half mile and then 2 more miles. So here's our half a mile to get us up to 4, and then 1, 2. So this is where they ended. This is where they started. So let's just start green. Green is our start, right? That's our starting line. We'll make pink our finish line because that's the closest I have to red right now. And yellow is our, like, they stopped for water. I guess I can make that blue. Let's make it blue. There we go. They stopped for water right here. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. Okay. So then how many miles did they walk total before they got all the way back home? Well, there we go. They stopped right there. That was it. They finished at 6 miles. So they walked 6 miles. There you go. That's it. So I want you to go ahead and pause the video and give the You Try problems a shot. You try those. And then come back and check your answers. Okay, here are your answers. If you got them correct, congratulations. Jump on over to the first activity for this unit. If not, go ahead and look through our notes again. See if maybe you can figure it out. Maybe talk to a friend. Or you can come check with me and maybe we can figure out where we are struggling a little bit. Until next time, have a good one.